So the focus of 15 on 15 is really, to take advantage of the resources that we have online in the means of getting started guides and how-to exercises. You can see that we'll be covering that section today. Every product has also a using section, which is kind of like your owner's manual, I like to say, and then how-tos, which are going to be real specific kind of workflow task-oriented examples. For automation, we've got additional content here that you can read up on, and then sections on how other Ideate software can integrate with automation to help you even more. So, and then customizing and troubleshooting is down there. If you forget where any of this is, it doesn't really matter because you can always find it actually right in the automation UI. There's a help section that takes you right to our web-based help. So today's session is going to be on exports, like we said. We want you to be able to discover the wide range of available formats we have, key differences between what export setups and print setups are in Revit, and then we're going to export a series of PDFs from multiple files in one task. So what we want you to be able to do is a similar thing where you can create a task to generate your PDFs over the weekend, and then when you get back to work on Monday or Tuesday, actually, since it's a holiday, see what your results are. So that's the idea here. So Ideate Automation, it's actually a Windows application that will automate your Revit tasks. So you open Revit, you don't find Ideate Automation in your Revit toolbar. So it's compatible with 2020 to 2024 and beyond. And again, we can utilize other Ideate applications like BIMlink, Explorer, Style Manager, etc., to create complete results. So, but we really want it to be minimal input on the user end for you to be able to get these things done. So it's really all about saving time. We're always talking about saving time on automating repetitive tasks, things that every project are going to have to go through, whether it's opening big files, whether it's data-based exports or more like deliverable-based exports. And that's what we'll be covering today with the PDF. So the overview of the interface on our home page, essentially where you're going to see all of the tasks that have run. And then there's some really important links up in here. We'll be looking at the Getting Started guide. And there's one additional piece that you will need to install for access to to Autodesk cloud-based files. And then we move on to create. I like to think of this as your menu of tasks to choose from. Like, you've got entrees and sides and desserts, like if you were in a restaurant. And that's going to be kind of the time where you spend the most finding, the appropriate task for you. And then files, you've got files everywhere, on the cloud, on your computer, on your office server, maybe. We can handle all of that. And essentially, you are empowered to curate your file list in the way that you see fit. But you'll always additionally have access to files through the recent files list. So that's an important thing to know as well. And then tasks, this is like the coolest part. So once we've created these scripts, these tasks that do things automatically, then we can schedule them to run in the off hours. There's a really straightforward interface for scheduling these. It's using like Windows Task Scheduler on the back end, but we give you a very user-friendly way to engage with that. So the problem as we see it is really all about time. What do you want to spend your time doing? We know that these exports are time consuming. They're always going to have to happen. So our solution removes the need to manually open all those files. You can do them off hours. You don't have to do a whole lot of crazy advanced setup. So, and in talking specifically about exporting for PDF and DWG, we want to make it very clear that we're not using Revit's print function. We're using the export function. So Revit reintroduced the ability to generate PDFs in 2020 in that release. So anything before that is not going to have the ability to generate PDFs by export. DWG, Audit's been doing that forever, so not a big deal there. All right, so I'm going to hop out of the PowerPoint now and go ahead, and I've got automation, the getting started guide, like we said, up here on the left. And there's an exercise in here, just what we call the open file exercise. This is basically just to get you off on the right foot, see that everything works, but it's really just 3 simple steps. We're going to start a task, we're going to select a Revit file, and then we're going to preview and just run that task. So you can see I've got a sample file already open here in 2024, but in Ideate Automation, I'm going to open another sample file with this real simple open RVT files script here. And so we'll browse for that. I know this was the RAC sample. And here's the one that I have in my desktop that I've saved specifically for this, but it came from the program files built-in location. So I'll go ahead and just select that guy and hit next. And I'm going to change the name of this just so I know what it is, that it's open new rack. Okay, I'll go ahead and hit run on that. So while I'm waiting for that to happen, Revit's going to be running in the background. Let's click on this getting started guide. So this is where we get into a more detailed exercise on creating a combined PDF. There's also a family report in here. There's kind of 2 steps, but we'll just be focusing on this exercise 1 of creating a combined PDF file. All right, so the first thing we want to do is understand what these view and sheet sets in Revit are all about. So let me pop back into my 2024 model for the sample, and you'll find under the file menu, the exports are all going to be under here. So I'll pick PDF. This also may be on your quick access toolbar. I know it is for mine. And the part that we're looking at right now is the range. So what is it that we want to print? And I have one saved set in here already that has 4 elevations. There's another saved print set called set 1, and it just has nothing actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say narrow this down to sheets and check on my sheets, and then I'm going to save that current set. Okay, and then just close out of there. So now that's going to be the default setting in this particular project. And then I'm just going to hit close, and I'll save this file and just get out of it entirely. Okay, and so, right, so now that we are in, we're going to define a list actually of Revit files. So the method that you saw me start with in that first task was to actually, if I just go and clone that, was to choose the files themselves. There's also an option to use a file list on most of these scripts that we have. So we're going to show you how to go about creating that file list. All right, so back on home, I can go create and start again. And this is one of the general scripts, and it's going to be right there for generate file list. And I'll go ahead and browse to those files that I know I've been working with, so I can look at my recent files. Excuse me. And there is the basic structure project that I've got. And again, I need to know where this is going to go. So I've got a folder already set up that's got Revit file lists in it, and I'm just going to overwrite this one that is in here right now. Go ahead and replace that. And then say next, and we'll change the name of this to just say kind of clearly that it is one file. Okay, and I'll hit save and run. So that, of course, takes no time just to generate a little text file, less than a second. But I want to move on now to create a PDF using that file as a reference. So we'll go to create, You can also from home hit new. It's going to bring you to create, kind of either way. And let's just do a quick search for PDF and we can see what we've got available here. Notice the prefixing. So the AUT, these are scripts that do not require any additional Ideate software. The other ones that are under this Ideate software scripts do. So you can see like in this example, we have two different PDF scripts that will use Bimlink to as the source of the files that you or the sheets that you want to publish. So, but again, we'll just be using the simple one here for our example, and that's going to be the PDF combined. All right, so now that we have the file list, we're going to toggle that, and you can see our change comes up here, and we browse to where we had contained that list. Okay, I'm not going to worry about work sets because I know these aren't work set enabled files, but I do want to pick a location where that resultant PDF output is going to be. So again, that can be anywhere. I've just got it on my desktop for the time being. Okay, and then remember we were looking at the sheet view sets. So we had changed our model before we saved it to be defaulting to set 1. So if we leave this blank, it's just going to do that. It's going to print all of those 8 sheets from set 1. For this particular exercise, I'm going to actually just copy paste this ADSK360, which was the one that had the 4 elevations in it. Okay, and so we'll go ahead and hit next on that. And then renaming wise here, I'm just going to call this 1 project because that's all we have in here so far. And I'll save and run. And I can see the status here that it's running. Previous ones I've done here with 1 model here, it takes less than a minute. But I don't have to wait for that. I can just go right back up here. And now we're going to update that file list and add another model to it. So this is where the power of seeing what you have in your history and cloning from that is a huge time saver and convenience. So we know we already had that one 2024 structure example file in there. I'm going to browse for the architecture example one again. So I'll just use my search, RAC, and that's the one on my desktop. And then this is kind of an important thing to note, the option to append to file or not. We want to make sure this is unchecked in this case, and that's because the RST basic sample project is already in this file list. So if I appended, then it would add it again for like the second time. So I'm going to uncheck that, which essentially is overwriting the existing file. Hit next, and now I'm going to just rename this that it has 2 files in it, and we'll save and run that. And of course, once again, it completes in no time. So now we can clone that task that we had of the 1 PDF project. And so I'll select that again and hit clone. And I'm still using the same file list, which I modified by adding the second one. So I don't need to do anything to this setting. That is exactly how I want it to be. I can actually, I could leave this setting as is because I know that both files have that sheet and view set. But if I simply delete it, then each file is going to use the default setting that's been saved in it. So we know we saved set 1, our new set, in the structural file. Okay, so we go next to review and complete. And again, I'll say this is 2 models and save and run that task. So, and now we've reached the end of that exercise after it's finished chugging away and putting these PDFs out here, we'll see the results. But in the meantime, I really want to show you the other export scripts and just again how easy it is to find things in here. So if I just type export into my scripts window, then I'm going to see all of the different options we have. So again, PDF like we just did, we got Navisworks and AutoCAD. In addition to like other sorts of data exports that we have as well. The health check is a super popular one that can, take that health check all the way to the point of creating a sticky to dashboard that onto the start page of your model. There's even advanced workflows for Power BI too that you can request from us. I can see that is in my custom scripts here. That's something that's available for download. So if you're interested in that, make sure you write us at support@ideate.com and make requests for that. Okay, and then I know we're toward the end here, so Richard should have posted the links in there. And Richard, do we have any questions that we want to try to answer real quick?
I did try to answer most of the questions. I know we're kind of a little bit
Okay.
over time, but yes, I
Hmm.
did click on or I did post the survey link twice, so they should
Okay,
have
great.
it. I also posted the link for the Getting Started guide, even though you showed it, you can click on it, obviously from the Ideate Automation user interface as well.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Excellent. Okay, well, let's just take a look at that PDF output folder and see that our PDFs are in there. And then we're going to call it done for. Yeah, so there's 1032. Oh, there's the 1129. So our structure project is completed. So we open that. And again, we should see those 4 elevation views that were part of that saved view and sheet set in Revit.